Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something you've probably seen 100 times if you've ever been to a Catholic service, but might still be a bit of a mystery. We're going to demystify a highly visible, yet honestly, often completely misunderstood object in Catholic liturgy. We're talking about the processional cross. We'll look at exactly what it is, how it's put together, and what it truly means. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so picture this. You're sitting in the church pews, waiting for Mass to start. The music kicks in, everybody stands up, and the procession starts heading down the aisle. Now, have you ever wondered why this specific object, the cross, always leads the way? Why does it enter before the priest, the deacon, and all the other ministers? Well, I can tell you right now, it isn't just carried for decoration, and it is definitely not some empty tradition.
The real reason is actually incredibly simple, but so profound. As this quote perfectly captures, it reminds us that Christ always leads his people. Think about that for a second. The ministers walking down the aisle, they don't actually lead Christ. No, they walk behind him. By deliberately putting the cross at the very front of every single liturgical procession, the Church is making this huge, highly visible statement. It's saying that the sacred liturgy is, first and foremost, Christ's work, and the entire gathering is just following his lead. Section 1. What is it? Defining the cross. So what exactly are we looking at here? By definition, a processional cross is a large cross mounted on a long staff, and it's specifically designed to be carried upright by a cross-bearer, who, by the way, is also known as a crucifer. Now, this isn't like a small devotional cross you might have hanging on a wall at home or sitting on your nightstand. Not at all. This piece of hardware is literally engineered for public visibility. It has to be carried high up above the assembly so that everyone in the church can clearly see it and, more importantly, symbolically follow it. Section 2. Anatomy of the cross. Form meets function. What's honestly fascinating about this is how every single component of the cross serves a highly specialized function. It's like a finely tuned instrument. Starting right at the outer edges of the cross arms, we have the finials. These are those decorative ends, and they actually symbolize the glory, victory, and universality of Christ. Moving down, we've got the staff, or the pole. This long shaft is the whole reason the cross can be lifted so high above the crowd. Then, right where the bearer actually holds the thing, you'll find the node, sometimes called the knob. This little rounded section is super practical. It gives the crucifer a balanced, secure grip while they're walking. And finally, at the very bottom is the base, or the ferrule. This part is usually reinforced with metal to give it some stability and to protect the staff whenever it gets set down on the floor. But, beyond all the practical utility of the staff and the grip, the core elements up at the very top are what visually drive home the central message of the faith. The cross itself, of course, represents the saving sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Now, a lot of Catholic processional crosses also feature a corpus, which is the image of the crucified Christ. And a quick fun fact, when that corpus is there, it technically makes the object a true crucifix. It really deepens the emphasis on his redemptive sacrifice. And naturally, the cross arms, those horizontal and vertical beams, physically recall the very instrument of salvation. Okay, let's move into section 3, a brief history, historical origins. If we trace this tradition all the way back, we see that in the earliest centuries of Christianity, the cross was pretty much instantly established as the supreme sign of Christ's victory over sin and death. But the real game changer, that happened around the 4th century. Once Christianity could be practiced publicly, these solemn, public liturgical processions became way more common. And naturally, the cross took the absolute place of honor right at the front of the line. Over the centuries, these crosses evolved into beautifully crafted works of art. Fast forward to today, and despite all kinds of different cultural and artistic traditions out there, the processional cross is still an essential, globally recognizable part of Catholic liturgy across both Eastern and Western churches. Section 4. When is it used? Liturgical contexts. So when exactly do you see this in action? Well, you aren't just going to see this at a standard Sunday service. I mean, yes, it's totally common during Holy Mass, but it's also front and center during Eucharistic processions, Palm Sunday, funeral liturgies, ordinations, confirmations, and even the dedications of new churches. Its presence at literally all of these solemn events visibly shouts a unified message. Absolutely every single sacred celebration in the church is entirely centered on Jesus Christ. Now, you might be sitting there wondering, how does this differ from the other crosses up in the sanctuary? It's a great question. We have to make a distinction between the processional cross and the altar crucifix. While they both represent Christ's saving sacrifice, their jobs in the liturgy are totally different. The processional cross is strictly designed to be mobile, right? It's meant to be carried during processions. The altar crucifix, on the other hand, is stationary. It stays put on or near the altar, so it remains visible the whole time during Holy Mass. It's there to constantly remind the priest and the faithful that the Eucharist makes present the sacrifice of Christ on Calvary.
But interestingly enough, these aren't always two completely separate physical objects. In a lot of churches, once that entrance procession wraps up, the processional cross is actually placed right near the altar. As long as it's positioned well and everyone can clearly see it, local custom and liturgical rules actually allow the exact same cross that was just carried in to seamlessly transition into being the altar crucifix for the rest of the Mass. Pretty efficient, right? Moving on to our final section, Section 5, the journey of discipleship.
Ultimately, guys, this whole thing is no mere ceremony or some stuffy historical reenactment. The processional cross is this incredibly dynamic reminder that Christianity is, at its very core, a journey of discipleship. Think about it like this. Just as the ancient Israelites followed the visible presence of God during the Exodus, every person watching that cross move down the aisle today is being called to actively follow Christ. And we're talking about following him not just in the easy, joyful moments, but through sacrifice, through service, and through real perseverance. As the cross leads the procession, the big takeaway is that Christ should literally be leading every single aspect of our lives. I absolutely love how this next quote captures it. To follow the cross is to follow the one who conquered sin and death through love. That is so powerful. The ultimate lesson of that grand entrance procession isn't just about admiring a beautiful piece of shiny liturgical hardware. Not at all. It is a direct visual call to action. It's an invitation for us to take up our own crosses every single day with hope, courage, and love. We are never supposed to just be content admiring the cross from a safe distance. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a thought to chew on. The very next time you're at Mass and the whole congregation stands up for the entrance procession, I want you to pay close attention to that very first sacred object leading the ministers down the aisle. Now that you know all about its anatomy, its ancient history, and the deep, deep symbolism behind it, ask yourself, what new fact about the processional cross surprised you the most today? Keep learning, keep observing, and we'll see you in the next explainer.